was a rally before the game, and then a trans rally before the game,
Here we go, here we
inspired
go, here we go,
by Sophie
here we
Cunningham.
go.
As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, how did you receive her comments and the way it ignited the right wing and anti-trans supporters? And for the players, having had conversations.
That moment stood out because there was a noticeable pause before the response. Stephanie White appeared to recognize that she was facing a difficult question on a sensitive topic during a live press conference. Given the amount of media attention surrounding the issue, it was understandable that any answer would be closely examined. The PR director then stepped in with a prepared statement on a laptop, suggesting that the organization had anticipated questions about the controversy and had an official response ready. However, because the statement came after the initial hesitation, the sequence gave the impression that the team was reacting in the moment rather than presenting a coordinated response from the beginning. Whether that reflected a planned media strategy or simply the way the exchange unfolded is not publicly known, but the moment quickly became one of the main talking points from the press conference.
And Stephanie White looked like a deer in headlights when Roberta basically asked her, what did you think about the anti-trans statement made by your player Sophie Cunningham when you're part of the LGBTQ community? And Stephanie looked like, who gonna help me? Because y'all know she looked to the PR, and the PR immediately whipped out her laptop and got the.
What made the situation receive so much attention was the timing. The Indiana Fever had just finished a road game in Seattle, but instead of spending the post-game press conference discussing basketball, questions focused on a protest that took place outside Climate Pledge Arena before the game. The reporter also referenced comments that had been linked to Sophie Cunningham in public discussion and noted that Stephanie White is a member of the LGBTQ+ community. That made the question more personal than a typical public relations issue. For the Fever, the timing was difficult. The team was trying to build momentum during a playoff race, develop chemistry under a new head coach, and keep the focus on its performance on the court. Instead, a national controversy became the main topic of conversation. Any response from the head coach was likely to receive significant media attention because of the visibility of both the team and the issue. During the press conference, Stephanie White appeared aware that her answer would be closely examined. In situations like this, every word can quickly spread across television, news websites, and social media. As a result, the discussion shifted away from the team's performance and toward the organization's handling of the controversy, overshadowing what had happened during the game.
The Seattle Storm head coach also made a statement about the situation involving this situation with Sophie as well. Let's listen.
Coach, there was an anti-trans rally before the game, inspired by a WNBA player. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community and in your workplace, what was your reaction knowing that this was happening right outside of your door?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle and this organization and Climate Pledge, we always want to be an area where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've always done a really good job with that. So I know our organization was, working closely with Climate Pledge and with security to just make sure that, everybody feels safe and included and welcome when they walk in the store. And from what I understand, that was successful.
The difference between the two responses drew attention because the Seattle Storm's head coach appeared calm and prepared when asked about the same issue. She acknowledged the situation, spoke about the organization's values, explained that the team was working with security, and emphasized that Climate Pledge Arena should be a welcoming place for everyone. Her answer was clear, direct, and allowed the conversation to move forward. That contrast led some observers to question how the Indiana Fever handled their own press conference. Rather than appearing ready with a confident response, Stephanie White seemed hesitant before the PR director stepped in with a prepared statement. Whether that reflected a lack of preparation, a decision to rely on the official statement, or another internal communication issue is not publicly known. However, the different responses created the impression that the Storm's messaging had been communicated more smoothly. The comparison also suggests that questions about the controversy were not entirely unexpected. If multiple teams anticipated the issue and prepared for it, organizations had an opportunity to discuss how coaches and staff would respond before facing the media. Having clear guidance does not require scripted answers, but it can help leaders respond confidently while staying consistent with the organization's position. In this case, the contrast between the two press conferences became part of the story itself, shifting attention from basketball to how each team managed a difficult public issue.
Start on the Zoom with Brian, the TNT star. Brian, do you want to get started?
Yeah. Hey guys. Kelsey, For you, I guess, just once you hit that first 3-pointer there in the fourth quarter, could you kind of feel things kind of coming along? Did you feel that kind of heat wave coming on?
No, just stay confident. My job is to not give up. My job is to stay resilient. My job is to always be confident, be ready for the next shot. And I think that's what you guys saw.
Yeah, I think you mentioned maybe just on the broadcast there, but Caitlin in the third quarter there, you described it as just kind of being in a flow state. If you could just tell us what it's like getting to experience that and getting to play alongside her when she goes on here like she did there in the third.
Just kind of filling the gap for her. She's one of the best for a reason. I think the best thing for me is trying to just be there for what she needs. What I need to cut, what I need to make sure I get off of it. Just kind of be ready and be steady.
Monique, for you there in the first quarter, just what is your mentality? What is your approach coming into these games? It seemed like you activated early and then just kind of maintained that momentum through the entire game.
Attack mode. I mean, we got a couple of days off, so it's feeling a little bouncy, feeling good coming into this game. And I just wanted to set the tone.
What makes this situation stand out is the contrast between the basketball story and the controversy that followed. Kelsey Mitchell talked about staying confident, being ready for the next shot, and supporting Kate Martin during her strong third-quarter performance. Those comments reflected the mindset of a team focused on winning together. The Indiana Fever had just earned an important road victory. Mitchell made key plays late in the game, Kate Martin provided a big spark offensively, and Monique Billings helped set the tone early. Under normal circumstances, those performances would have been the main focus of the press conference. Instead, attention shifted away from the game and toward an off-court controversy. While the players answered questions about basketball and tried to keep the discussion centered on the team's performance, many expected the headlines to focus on the exchange involving Stephanie White and the organization's response rather than the victory itself. For a team trying to build confidence and momentum, that can be frustrating. The Fever won a tough road game despite Aaliyah Boston missing the second half, and several role players stepped up when they were needed most. It was the type of win that can strengthen team chemistry and build confidence going forward. However, the post-game conversation became dominated by off-court issues, leaving the team's on-court accomplishments receiving far less attention than they otherwise might have.
Talking about, being there for AB, and everybody has to do just a little bit more, and I think our team did that.
And then if I could just add one for Kelsey, the fact that you guys have this sort of, I guess you would say, ability, when you lose a player like that to still fight for a win on the road, what does that say about just the mentality of this team?
I think it says a lot about our culture. I think Steph has been hammer home since training camp started that we over me. And we like to think that we actually take that serious. Obviously, you don't want to see a person like AB go down in any capacity, but I think that next man up mentality kind of gives people the confidence to go and be who they are. And so you still expect greatness from Aisha, from Mo and KK. And I think that they did an awesome job of filling in those gaps, especially with the big presences lost in AB.
For Mo, you guys have won 8 out of your last 11. Now, what do you feel is working so well?
I think we're building connectedness, our chemistry, just reps, having reps together, building confidence off of these wins, and staying in the moment, staying present, just taking it game by game.
As Steph, when you talk about playing together, what just jumps out as some key things when they're not playing together versus when you are?
I think offensively, the thing that jumps out at me is we dribble too much when we're not playing together. The ball's not moving. When we are playing together, the ball is moving side to side. It's attacking the paint. It's finding the next pass. It's the ball finding the right shot. Multiple players on the floor getting touches. Forcing defenses to rotate. Defensively, it's communication. It's activity. It's execution. You can see. It's basketball is kind of like a dance, right? Like everybody's kind of got to be in sync, and everybody's got to kind of be together. And you can tell when we're not. And you can tell when you are. And I think as players, you feel it. In those moments too, and we just got
Stephanie White's answer about the team's offensive chemistry showed a completely different side of her coaching. She explained that when the team is connected, the ball moves from side to side, several players get involved, and the defense is forced to rotate. But when the offense struggles, players dribble too much, the ball stops moving, and the team becomes easier to defend. It was a detailed basketball explanation that showed her knowledge and experience as a coach. That makes the earlier press conference moment stand out even more. White clearly understands the game and communicates basketball concepts very well. She can explain offensive strategy, defensive communication, and how team chemistry develops. However, when she was asked about a social controversy involving the team, she appeared uncomfortable and hesitant. Some observers argued that this reflected a lack of preparation and organizational support rather than a lack of coaching ability. From that perspective, the responsibility extends beyond the coach. If an organization expects difficult questions about a public controversy, it can help prepare its leaders with clear guidance and messaging before they face the media. That allows a coach to answer confidently while remaining consistent with the team's official position. Instead, the moment gave the impression that Stephanie White was left to handle a sensitive issue on her own before the PR director stepped in with a prepared statement. Whether or not that was actually the case, the sequence created the appearance of confusion and shifted attention away from basketball and onto the organization's handling of the situation.
And then if I could just have one for Kelsey, the fact that you guys have this sort of, I guess you would say, ability, when you lose a player like that to still fight for a win on the road, what does that say about just the mentality of this team?
I think it says a lot about our culture. I think Steph has been hammering home since training camp started that we over me. And we like to think that we actually take that serious. Obviously, you don't want to see a person like AB go down in any capacity, but I think that next man up mentality kind of gives people the confidence to go and be who they are. And so you still expect greatness from Aisha, from Mo and KK. And I think that they did an awesome job of filling in those gaps, especially with the big presence is lost in AB.
From you guys have won 8 out of your last 11 now. What do you feel is working so well?
I think we're building connectedness, our chemistry, just reps, having reps together, building confidence off of these
Reporter's
wins.
question is important because of how it was asked. She was not simply asking about the rally. She pointed out that it happened outside the Indiana Fever's workplace and directly addressed Stephanie White as a member of the LGBTQ+ community. This was not just a question about team policy. She was asking how a gay head coach felt about a controversy connected to someone associated with her team and how it affected the environment around the organization. From a journalism standpoint, that is a reasonable question. If a controversy involving the team is receiving national attention, reporters are expected to ask about it. The reporter was not attacking anyone or trying to create drama. She was asking the head coach to respond to an issue that involved the team and had broader public attention. The bigger issue was not the question itself. The problem was that the Fever organization did not appear fully prepared for a question that many people expected would be asked. When the PR director quickly stepped in with a prepared statement, it suggested the organization already knew the topic would come up. However, instead of giving the official response from the beginning or making sure the coach was fully prepared, Stephanie White appeared to struggle before the statement was read. That created the impression that the organization was reacting in the moment rather than handling the situation with a clear communication plan. As a result, the focus shifted away from the team's basketball performance and toward how the organization handled the press conference. Better preparation and clearer communication could have helped the team respond more confidently and prevented the moment from becoming a much bigger story.
How has your, mentality or confidence kind of shifted and built here, just even over the past couple of weeks
I would just say I'm still figuring it out. There's a learning curve and it's a slow burn, but I'm being patient, getting in where I fit in, continuing to build chemistry and stay positive.
Michael Bobo?
This is for Coach. Steph, can you give us any update on Aaliyah? I know you probably haven't really had that much of a chance. It looked like she was getting up on the bench and stuff, but if you could give us any update on her, and then could you just talk about how the team came together even when she was out to be able to hold off Seattle?
Yeah, no update other than, it wasn't really worth the risk for us in the second half. Just want to be very conservative and make sure that she's good to go. Our team came together. They were talking about it in the timeout together. I think our communication in huddles before we get in there as coaches has been really, really good.
Players stayed focused on basketball. After Aaliyah Boston went down, Kelsey Mitchell talked about the team's next player up mindset. Every player understood their role and believed they could step in when needed. That confidence shows a team building strong chemistry and learning different ways to win games. But all of that positive momentum was overshadowed by problems off the court. While the players focused on winning, the organization found itself dealing with a public relations issue that could have been avoided with better communication and clearer policies. Stephanie White ended up caught in the middle of the situation. As a first-year head coach, she was trying to earn her players' trust, build authority, and create a strong team culture. Instead, she had to deal with a controversy that had nothing to do with coaching basketball. When a coach appears unprepared and doesn't seem to have support from the organization, players notice. That can weaken confidence in leadership and make it harder to build a strong team environment. This situation also highlights how much the WNBA has changed. In the past, many league controversies received little national attention. Now, with record-breaking TV ratings and more fans than ever, every press conference, interview, and mistake quickly spreads across social media. Every awkward moment can become a viral story. The Indiana Fever are experiencing this more than most teams because of Caitlin Clark. They have gone from receiving very little media attention to having cameras at nearly every practice and reporters analyzing every decision. That level of attention requires better media preparation, stronger communication, and a clear plan for handling difficult situations. The press conference showed that the organization was not fully prepared for that level of scrutiny. A better approach would have started much earlier. If Sophie Cunningham's comments were expected to create controversy, the organization could have discussed the possible reaction with her not to control her opinions, but to make sure she understood the attention her words could receive. The team also could have prepared coaches, players, and executives with clear talking points so everyone would respond consistently if questions came up. Instead, Stephanie White appeared surprised by the question, and the team's PR director had to pull up a prepared statement on a laptop during the press conference. That made the organization look unprepared rather than in control. Instead of reducing the controversy, it made the situation look even worse. This matters because the WNBA has built much of its identity around inclusion, equality, and support for LGBTQ players, coaches, and fans. Those values are an important part of the league's image. When a controversy seems connected to those issues, teams are expected to respond clearly and honestly. The statement itself was reasonable. It explained that the organization did not organize or support the rally, that its main focus is basketball, and that it wants to bring fans together instead of dividing them. However, because the statement was delivered only after the coach struggled to answer, it felt more like damage control than a genuine response. Other WNBA teams have handled similar situations more effectively by making sure everyone understood the team's message ahead of time. They did not script every word, but they prepared coaches and players so they could speak naturally while staying consistent with the organization's values. That preparation was missing in this case. The impact goes beyond one uncomfortable press conference. It affects how players feel about whether the organization will support them during difficult situations. It also affects whether fans believe the team's values are genuine or only mentioned when they are convenient. Finally, it raises questions about whether Stephanie White has the support she needs to lead the team through challenges both on and off the court. The situation became even more confusing because Sophie Cunningham was no longer on the Indiana Fever roster. She was playing for the Phoenix Mercury. If the reporter mentioned the wrong player, someone from the organization could have corrected that immediately. If the question was actually about another Fever player, the organization should have clearly explained who it was referring to. Instead, there was confusion, hesitation, and a general statement that did not fully answer the question. Because of that, the focus shifted away from basketball. The Fever had won the game in Seattle despite losing Aaliyah Boston for the second half, and several role players stepped up to help secure the victory. That should have been the biggest story. Instead, the headlines focused on organizational confusion, an unprepared coach, and a PR team stepping in during the press conference. Better communication and preparation could have prevented that outcome. The larger lesson is that professional sports organizations cannot avoid controversy by staying silent or being unprepared. As the WNBA continues to grow, every team must be ready for difficult questions and unexpected situations. Strong leadership requires clear communication, preparation, and confidence when addressing challenging topics. The Indiana Fever now have an opportunity to improve. They can create better communication procedures, prepare coaches for a wider range of media questions, and make sure difficult conversations happen inside the organization before they become public problems. Doing so would help prevent similar situations in the future. Overall, this moment reflects the challenges that come with the WNBA's rapid growth. The league is receiving more attention than ever, and with that comes greater scrutiny. Controversies will continue to happen, but the key question is whether teams will learn to handle them better. Better preparation, stronger leadership, and honest communication can keep off-court issues from overshadowing what happens on the basketball court.